from the towns and the tanks. Make your mother proud of you and the old red, white, and blue.
Christine Hallett. I'm a professor of history at the University of Huddersfield, and I live in Yorkshire in the UK. I work on the history of nursing. I research the work that was done by nurses and write books on that subject. I have a particular area of specialism, and that's the work of nurses in the First World War. I discovered that there were some wonderful memoirs and writings from those nurses who'd gone to the front lines during the First World War. And as I looked a bit further, I found that there were a number of novels as well and memoirs that had been published that really were about some kind of romanticized image of nurses. It was very clear to me that they were saving lives, and it was their clinical work that was really important. No one had really written much about that. So I came up with these three myths. The myth of the VAD, the volunteer nurse who's somehow more humane than the professional nurse. The myth of the romantic nurse as well, the kind of Ernest Hemingway kind of romantic nurse who's really just there as the counterfoil, you know, to the hero. And then also the nurse's heroine. They probably weren't very confident in their actual clinical work. They talked more about the heroism of just being out there, you know, just being close to the front lines. The stories did start to emerge about what they were really doing when they were out there, the kind of work, the clinical work that they were doing. I thought, well, I can't really do this work without going out to the Western Front. I arranged to go on a little bit of a personalized battlefield guide, a battlefield tour. And I went to one particular cemetery at a place called Dozingham, which was the site of 3 casualty clearing stations during the First World War. There was a plaque there, a memorial to a nurse. Not in the cemetery. The War Graves Commission would not allow them to put this plaque to a nurse inside the cemetery because the nurse was not a soldier. And it's a beautiful picture, coloured image of Helen Fairchild. I just felt inspired to do some research on Helen Fairchild and find out who she was. One of those elite and professional nurses who were doing that important work of actually keeping the wounded alive so that surgeons and doctors could actually treat them. Beyond that, she's somehow a symbol as well, I think, of women's work in the First World War. In a way, self-sacrificing. It wasn't a deliberate self-sacrifice, but by being as brave as she was and not really thinking of her own safety, you know, she was sacrificing her life for the good of others.